Hi, I'm Kath. I'm a foster carer for Cumbria County Council and I've been a foster carer for over 6 years now. We've presently got a sibling group of 3 with us that have been with us for 3.5 years. They came to us aged 4, 5 and 7, so they're now 7, 8 and 10. Settled into the family fabulously. They came to us as a short-term placement with a plan initially to get them back into their family home. But after a year of being with us, we got to court and court were looking at making the decision for them to stay in care. The options were for the eldest to stay in care and the younger 2 to be adopted, or for the 3 of them to stay as a sibling group in care. Because they'd been with us for a year at that point, we thought it would be really good if they just stayed with us because they were settled and it seemed silly moving them into another foster family. And foster families for sibling groups are quite difficult to find. We are looking for a lot more foster carers to do sibling groups because there is a shortage out there of foster carers who will do sibling groups. Personally, I've done single placements, a couple, 2 brothers placement and this sibling group of 3, and I find the sibling groups a lot easier to do. They've got the support of their brothers, sisters to support each other. When contact's happening with their birth parents and they're having contact, they've got the support of each other there during that. It's just a lot easier, a lot more relaxed atmosphere to have that way. We've always wanted to foster. It's something we've always wanted to do since my husband and I got together. But when I was working, I was involved in a family who were placed with 3 different foster families. It was a sibling group of 6, and there were different ends of the county, and it was quite difficult arranging contact for them to see each other, and then that would happen once a fortnight for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. And it just wasn't enough time for them. They'd lived with each other their whole lives, and then all of a sudden they were separated, and they felt as though they were being punished for things that their parents were responsible for, and that wasn't the case. It was just there wasn't the foster carers there to take sibling groups at that time. So that was something we said. We always knew we wanted to foster, and it was something we said we had a big enough home with enough bedrooms. We wanted to take on sibling groups to keep them together. I don't find it more difficult to have a sibling group at all. I suppose when you've got a family and you've got an extra couple of kids within that family making meals, there's no bigger an issue. It's just a few extra vegetables, potatoes, whatever, thrown into the mix. It's not a problem. The washing machine's on just as many times. It doesn't really make the workload any different. And they're there to support each other. They get a lot more emotional support from each other. So it actually makes it easier. We had one child on their own who was actually quite a lot of a handful for the attention they wanted and the time they needed to be spent with them. I found it a lot more challenging than when I've had sibling groups, so it has been a lot easier. And they're there to support each other. They don't need to turn to you for everything because they've got themselves to turn to their big brother or little sister or whoever to say, I'm feeling a bit upset about mummy or whatever, and to get that support and encouragement from each other. So it is very rewarding. You'll find, if you've not fostered before, you'll find that children who are in the care system are so pleased and very overwhelmed by things like 4 meals a day. The little things so please them and make them so grateful to be in a nice, loving family that it does become easy to get attached to them and to bond with them and have a relationship with them because they are so desperate to please and so desperate to be loved. So we'd been thinking about fostering since we were first together, and we decided to wait until our family was at the right time. And I was working with Looked After Children as an advocate, and I'd met all of the children in the county that I was working at. And it was just one day meeting this other particular child, I just thought, something, there's not one of those children that I wouldn't take home with me in a heartbeat. And at that point I realised the timing was right, that now's the time to be looking at fostering, and that's when we started the process.